Thank you. Got your attention, I hope. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being here. I apologize for the long wait out there, but the staff of the theater wanted to remind you that you can get tickets online, and you can get tickets also at the PARTV building box office anytime during 8 to 5, and then also at Adams Center. So there were tickets through for our programs now in the music department, all through GrizTix, which is the same place you get football tickets and everywhere else. So keep that in mind so you don't have to wait in line next time. But thank you so much for waiting in line. Hope we'll have a good show for you to make it worth it. That first piece again is called Batucada, which is kind of like a drum solo thing, and from Brazil, and that's from Bahia region, which is kind of central coast of Brazil, and which is where a type of samba comes from. As you can see, it's called samba reggae. They call it samba reggae in Brazil. That's how they pronounce their R's. And from that area of Brazil, that style is very prevalent. And if you've ever heard Rhythm of the Saints by Paul Simon, that record has a group from Bahia called Olodum. That piece that we played was by another group called Ilhae, which is all black group. They don't allow any white people in that group. And they're phenomenal. There's several great groups there in that area. I was fortunate to be able to learn that when I was in Brazil in 2005 and wrote it all down the best I could. And it's just a lot of fun. And we had a lot of fun doing it. So now we're going to change pace quite a bit and move to a closer neighbor, Mexico. Mexico, of course, is well known for all kinds of music like mariachi. But another kind of instrument that's very popular in Mexico is the marimba. We don't have any Mexican marimbas. They are different a little bit because the resonators on Mexican marimbas have they have a little pigskin on them that produces a kind of a kazoo buzzy effect. So the whole marimba just buzzes. It's a very cool sound. So we're going to play some music from traditional music from Mexico now, starting with Cielito Lindo. Cielito Lindo means sweet little one, and it's become kind of a theme song for the whole country. Anyone who's old enough to remember the old Frito-Lay's commercials, you'll recognize "Ay ay ay, Frito Bendito" in this song. There's part of the song that is used in. But actually, that song now has become such a big part of Mexican culture that whenever Mexico appears in the World Cup, they play this song, at the World Cup. So it's that big of an important song to their culture. This is Cielito Lindo. when we think about South America and Central America and the Caribbean, you know, I teach a world music class here, so I'm always thinking about this kind of thing, or talking about it. You know, the Spanish influence is very dominant from Mexico south, right? In much of Central America and also the Caribbean, and of course South America. And Mexico has a very, very strong Spanish influence. A lot of countries also have African influence. And later tonight, you're going to hear some, actually, right after this group, you'll hear the salsa band, which is a good example of that, combining Latin music. They call it Latin music, but it's really Afro-Cuban. More truly, it's African music mixed with Cuban music, which mixed with American jazz, kind of created salsa music. But anyway, this next tune, La Paloma, was written by a Spanish composer in I think I was researching it, was about 1863. And interestingly, I found out that this is one of the most recorded pieces in history, along with Yesterday by the Beatles. Apparently those two songs, those two songs have been recorded more than almost any other song by so many different people. It's one of those weird tidbit facts that so it's a beautiful piece. It's called a habanera. You know what the habanera is? I always think of the really, really hot peppers. But it's called a habanera. It's a style of music from Spain that this is patterned after. We're doing it as a bolero. A bolero is a slow dance type of groove in Latin music. So here is La Paloma, the dove. to get the idea about how to play that piece across the students. And the only thing I could think of was imagine yourself in 100-degree heat and sitting under the shade, recovering from a little bit too much tequila. Some of them may know what that's like. But anyway, yeah, the real lazy kind of atmosphere in that piece is really beautiful. So this next one, Chiapanecas, is kind of neat. It means the women of Chiapas, which is a region, it's actually a state in Mexico, and it's the state that's the home of the marimba, Mexican marimba. So if you ever go to Chiapas, make sure you check out the great marimba bands that are there. They're professional groups, they're very good. You can see them on YouTube. They play incredibly, I've seen on YouTube examples of virtuoso players, and everyone from looks like maybe 90-year-old men to boys that can barely get their arms up on the instrument. So it's a lot of times they're family groups and stuff like that. But Chiapas is again the home of the marimba in Mexico. And this one is another kind of similar, kind of a copla feel, like a waltz, like the first one we did. So here it is, Chiapanecas. See everyone's moving around because I make sure everyone gets a chance to do a little bit of melody, a little bit of bass, a little bit of percussion. This next one, very well, is probably one of the most, if not the most famous song out of Mexico. No one really knows the composer of La Bamba, but the most famous version, of course, was the rock and roll version by Ritchie Valens at the end of the 50s, the very beginning of the rock and roll. And it's also one of the only, I guess there's, I don't know the exact number, but there's a list of like the top rock and roll songs of all time, and it's the only one that's not in English. It's because it's in Spanish. The version, there's a lot of different versions of this. Of course, the rock and roll version, but if you listen to the Mexican versions, they're just all kinds of different versions of it. We're doing a really neat one by William Kahn, arrangement by William Kahn, who is a percussionist with the group Nexus, one of the best percussion ensembles in history. One of them is already, they were around since the 60s, so they were like the first professional percussion ensemble. I think they started in early 60s or something. So, and they have set the example for many professional groups to follow them. And so they did a lot of really great music. And in fact, later you're going to hear African music. And the first time I ever heard that music was from the group Nexus. So they've introduced the percussion world and the world in general to all kinds of great percussion music in their history together. So this is La Bamba, arranged by William Kahn. Okay, we're ready to move on. We're going to get our horn players up here, and we're going to move on to the next segment. The program, by the way, we have is a different order than what's on. We're going to play a different order than what's on the program. We're going to start with a piece called Ritmo Rainbow. All three of these pieces that we're playing are performed by Pancho Sanchez and his band. Pancho Sanchez is like one of the greatest, we call him congueros, which is the king of the conga drums, which Jordan is playing. Raise your hand, Jordan. Raise your hand, Jordan. Jordan. Yeah, those are the conga drums. Yeah. And the other thing that's really kind of neat tonight is we kind of discovered this week working with Eddie Boji, who you're going to see later in the second half. The conga drums are, of course, as you may know, their ancestors were from Africa. You know, as we talked a little bit earlier about how music, black music or African music, I should say, came into the Caribbean and South America and stuff, and salsa music is one of the results of that. But also, you know, of course, their drums, the kind of percussion and the ways of playing percussion as well came over from Africa. And so Eddie Boji is from Ghana, West Africa, and the direct ancestors to the Conga drums we're going to be playing later tonight. You'll see them. They look like the congas, but they have wooden pegs rather than metal, and that's the Pan Logo drums. There's another name for them which I can't pronounce. Anyway, so that's kind of neat to see the connection tonight between this music and then after the second half is the origins of where all that came from, the rhythms especially of Afro-Cuban music. So Ritmo Remo, first of all, I want to thank some people. I want to thank the three guest horn players, Nathan Crawford on trumpet, Alex McDowell on tenor, and Alfred Saxon, and Bart Schiniver on trombone. They're a major part of the jazz program here, and Barbara has a recital on Sunday night, if you want to check that out. Trombone sound. As you know, and then of course many of the students up here are also involved in the jazz program, percussion majors, and Dylan Johns on bass. So this is kind of a different type of jazz that focuses more on rhythm and percussion. So I hope you enjoy this first one, Ritmo Remo. Okay, yeah, that featured Barb and Alice on trombone and saxophone respectively, and then Jordan on congas, Jordan Wiegert on congas, and Chris Nero on tubas. This next one is a cha-cha, or cha-cha-cha, or cha-cha-cha, no, just kidding. It's usually one of the two, cha-cha or cha-cha-cha. And of course, all of these have a dance step. That was first was a mambo, and a mambo and cha-cha are like two extremes. It's the same groove basically, but just played either fast or slow. The cha-cha, of course, is a slower, more quarter note kind of feel. This is sonando, and it's got some vocals which are sonando. So if you feel like joining us, just sing right along with us. So here is sonando, and you'll hear again from Chris Nero on congas, Nathan on trumpet, and Barb on trombone. So here is sonando. Okay, it's that time of year when we have people that move on in life. That's one of the important, but yet sometimes, sad parts of our job. We're supposed to train people to graduate and go off, right, and have a career, but then you hate to see them go because you've spent so much time working on it. They finally got it all figured out, and then they're gone, and you have to start with someone else. That's kind of what we do, and it's a very enjoyable part of my life. Getting to meet all these people and watch them grow while they're here, and as a musician and as a person. And so this year I've got 3 seniors moving on, and I want to acknowledge them the way we've been doing now for a few years. And it's, of course, being a percussionist, you could call yourself a drum head, and you can also get a drum head as a party gift when you graduate. It's the UN Percussion Grad 2015 tradition we started here, and so I want to call the 3 of them up to receive their drum head and thank them for all their service here, and wish them the best of luck. So first, I hope he's here, is Gabe Nordquist Palmer, who's graduating, and pretty soon he's got to finish student teaching. Degree, and thank you so much, great Gabe, and here you go. No, you're going to hear more of that later. And now a student from Vermont who I became acquainted with because of a friend of mine who was actually a trumpet player that was getting his master's here at U of M years ago. Pat Roberts, we became really good friends. We used to go skiing and hiking together and all that. And then he moved to Vermont, and he said, "Hey Bob, I got this drummer that I really like to come out and study with you." And it's been really a blast getting to know Mark McDuff, who's from what city in Pittsburgh, Vermont, and so it's not Pittsburgh, but anyway. So Mark is finishing a BA and also a media arts double major in media arts and BA in music. So big hand for Mark McDuff. From Lewistown, Montana, in the other corner, whatever, Jordan Wiegert. Jordan is finishing a performance degree, and he's been accepted, and he's planning to do a master's in jazz studies at the University of Northern Colorado. Let's wish him the best of luck. So now we're going to do the last tune, Coco Mai Mai. It also has the lyric in it, Coco Mai Mai, and a few other words. I don't know what Coco Mai Mai means. Anyway, in this one we're going to have a little surprise guest later in the piece. We're going to have Eddie come out and join us at the end of this piece, who you'll be seeing more of later. So here is Coco Mai Mai.
Thank you.
I'm now going to introduce and actually welcome to the stage again Eddie Boji, and let him say a few words. Here's Eddie Boji.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so pleased to come to Missoula. The last time I was here, I had a great time, and I think the time keeps increasing. Another fun time. Thank you all so much. The dance we just did is called Pacha. Pacha. It's a dance from the Gan people of Accra. They originated in Accra, which is the capital city of Ghana. They do this dance to celebrate the life of a woman. After a special ritual is performed on a little girl who is getting to the puberty age, the ritual is called Dipo. And after the Dipo, we do Pacha to party. So if you are here to party tonight, that's the beginning of it. Are you ready to party? The next one is Pika. Enjoy the music. Very nice. Please, let's give it up for Professor Ledbetter one more time. And Elma. Yes. Playing the tall drum, Timogu, is one complicated rhythm. So Professor Bob does it so well that I decided, no, I'm not going to go there, maybe just support. So that was K-Camp. The next dance we're going to do is called Sichi, another social dance performed by Ashantis. And tonight we have our beautiful ladies from right here in Missoula. And after 5 days of practice, enjoy this beautiful dance.
5 days of practice. 5 days.
While we're getting set for this next one, I want to really thank Eddie. He's been here since Sunday, and we've been rehearsing. We rehearsed like all day and night Sunday. And he, if you read his bio, he started out as he grew up in music, of course, in Ghana. And then his first experience professionally was as a dancer. So he went to the University of Ghana and studied dance and traveled the world with the dance company, with the National Dance Company of Ghana. And so he's a dancer first, but he's always been a drummer at heart. And when he went to, he's told us a story about when he went to the university, they said, he wanted to play drums, and he said, no, you're going to be a dancer. And so he always wanted to, and they wouldn't let him touch the drums. So he'd always sneak over and find time to play them. So it's in his blood, and of course he's unique in the fact that he's both a drummer and a dancer. And so he spent this week teaching the choreography. He created the choreography, and the steps, of course, are traditional steps in these dances. But I really thank him for all the time he put in teaching the dance choreography, as well as teaching everything to us as well. So it was a lot of intensive time for all of us getting it together, and really want to thank him for all that. And this next one is going to feature him on the piece Gabada, which, as you see in your program, was a piece that was done as kind of a celebration after a successful hunt. There we go. Okay. All right. Touchy chord. Again. All right. I won't touch it. So Eddie is going to play guitar and sing on this piece called Gabada.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last item for you tonight. We call it Panlogo. Panlogo means the road that is whirling round and round and round. The Ga people along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, bottom of Ghana, who live in Accra, they go to the beach, or they fish, they play Panlogo, dance, jubilate, celebrate while they catch the fish. And this is what we're going to celebrate. As I was saying, the dancers are going to show us those cute movements. Right when they're done, they're going to call you to come up stage and join us do this dance celebration. Are you ready? Are you ready? Why you know, lo, lo, say yeah. Why you know, lo, lo, say yeah.